Hey there, y'all, and welcome to today's Daily Down and Dirty. My name is Fairlight, and welcome to Airy Fairy Tarot. All right, y'all. So I don't really even have a whole message, although cards came out anyway. I was like, I'm just going to shuffle while I'm on the video, do something different, and talk about, I've been doing these Daily Down and Dirties. I started probably 4 years ago, maybe. And when my guides told me to do it, they said, wake up and just look a fucking mess and just do a reading and get in the habit of making a video every day. And so if you go back and see those first videos, I look a mess. And then, self-consciousness, vanity, whatever started taking over. And then life, inconsistency, whatever. So my intention is to get back to wake up and make a video looking like shit. Yay, Daily Down and Dirty, right? So I've got 6 decks on the table, and I do this whole thing before I do readings. I smudge, and then I sing and, call in the space and whatever. And like I said, I was just going to start shuffling after yapping with y'all. I'm in my home office. My son helped me make this. I need to get a picture for that wall, although I've got this really cool tapestry right here, so maybe I'll just start putting the camera over there, but it's kind of a big table, and I'll miss you. You'll be all the way over there. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know, blah blah blah. Things are really shifting. I kind of just want to have a conversation, love talking about the astrology because when things don't make sense, at least we can blame the planets, right? And it's a collective thing going on. So it's kind of cool that the cards that did come out while I was smudging, they made themselves known. And so I've got this really cool unicorn, the last unicorn deck that Murph gave to me. And 3 cards came out reversed, and it's the High Priestess reversed, it's the 3 of Coins reversed, and the 4 of Swords reversed. And what I was getting from that is and I take it personally, but I tried to depersonalize it and make it for everybody. But if you're feeling at a crossroads, or it's I don't even see roads to take, I don't know what direction I'm going in. Maybe you feel like you're hitting a wall, moving in the direction that feels right for you. Or if I were to make it more personal, I've come to really rely on guidance. I've come to rely on getting a vision about the direction to move into, or I hear messages about what to do. And it's funny, in acknowledging that, now the conversation starts. Maybe I'm crazy, maybe I'm psychic, maybe that's one and the same. What they're saying is yeah, we have been telling you and you've been resisting it. So maybe there's a need to look at what you've been resisting. And it could be moving towards what you really have, believing that you want. I think we're at a threshold kind of right now. And I like the word threshold because the next card is such a crossing the threshold kind of card. Sometimes I think we almost have to ask ourselves, is the thing I've been putting to the universe really the thing that I want? Or do I like having it as a someday fantasy? And if it is what I want, why do I feel such a resistance to doing it? And so in this case, because it's scary to make videos. I've come to actually love it a lot, But, and so I'll talk about my own personal thing, and maybe if there's some sort of a resonance, you can apply it to your own life. I've been at the hippie shop for the last 2.5 years. And, before that I've worked in shops and whatever. And then I was at Instant Karma before COVID even, and found that at that time, in those times, I really love the brick and mortar setting. I love being in a shop that's vibrant. Things were going on, cool hippie stuff. There's crystals, there's tapestries, clothes, magic items, incense, candles, all the cool stuff. And the people who work there, as well as the people who come in, I love the brick and mortar setting. And so that's always worked. And then, little by little, it just hasn't been working. And so then it's like, and this is where I want to tell you to journal, also telling me to journal, I guess. But it's like, if you're getting other, like, I'm going to say hits, other ideas, other messages that, and so my example again is, home needs me home, or home needs me to be working from home, or my youngest son especially, but both of my boys, for whatever reason, even if I'm in here, I've got a cool, look, my son got it all set up cool. I've got these cool dividers so that they can be in the living room and I can be in here in the sunroom, the office, and I'm here, anyway, so I don't know. I guess I don't like to make assumptions, but if I'm led to share something from my personal stuff, I hope that it's landing with somebody in a similar, like, crossroads kind of a thing. So back to this High Priestess reversed. It just feels like a big confusion. It's almost like a moon card. Usually when I get the High Priestess reversed, I'll become accusatory. No, I'm just kidding. Not so much accusatory. I joke, but like, are you not listening to your guidance? you already know, and you're not following it. It could be that, but this is where we're getting kind of deep into, like, belief systems and programs, and that's where we really step into facing the shadow of worthiness. And the paradigm that's been, like, creating reality for the collective has invested a lot into us questioning our worthiness and believing that we have to prove ourselves, whether it's to their made-up God, whether it's to their made-up capitalism, whether it's to their whatever it is. Prove. But who are we proving ourselves to? Like, all of this all of this, society hasn't always been done this way. And there have been thriving societies that, everybody had a home, everybody was fed, everybody worked together. It's really feeling like that's probably a lot more healthy. All of this has had its run, but it's not sustainable. And, whatever, I'm channeling. But that High Priestess kind of a thing. But when it comes down to the self and questioning, like, who am I to think that I can be, live a successful life, not proving my worth to outside forces? Who am I to be authentic? Who am I? And I love that whole, well, who are you not to? Like, but again, so it feels like we're really questioning our beliefs right now in a really deep way. And then with this Three of Pentacles, it's so much about that worth. All right, then my phone ran out of storage. So who knows? Life said quit babbling. But that's what I do. So anyway, so this Three of Pentacles with the High Priestess, and then this Four of Swords was reversed too. But so with these two together, it is like a confusion about the direction to go in. And, often enough people come to me with wanting a reading about, like, should I stay at my corporate job or should I go off on my own? Almost 100%. My answer will be definitely move in the direction that your soul is calling you towards. But it's fucking scary. And what's beautiful is, like, it doesn't always have to be like, chop off this timeline and then you just throw yourself into the brand new timeline. Sometimes the Fool card is that way, but sometimes it's like slow investments. Earth energy, coins energy, that is slow moving. So you can start planting seeds for what it is that you want. But with all of these being reversed, that Four of Swords reversed, it's like I'm confused about what to invest myself in. I'm confused about the direction to go into. And I can't even find the time to rest to really find that clarity. And so I think there is a need to prioritize gaining clarity through first prioritizing what is most meaningful to you, not what is it that I do that society will most value, which I'm still working through that myself. What is it that I can do that society will most value? It's more, what do I value so much that this would be my gift to my life, and then my gift to community, to society. Rethinking all of that, society and our place in it, and it comes down to sovereignty, y'all. And I just want to breathe sometimes. Like, it comes down to sovereignty. When we believe we have to obey an outside authority, whether that's a religious authority or a political authority or whatever, it relieves us of accountability. It relieves us of responsibility, is really the thing. And my example is my ex-husband grew up in Waco, Texas, and, a very predominant, religious place. And he said, yeah, people just throw their trash out the windows because they don't feel any responsibility for the earth because their religion tells them that they don't have to worry about this place. They just need to take from what's here and wait to go to the better place. And it's like, wow, maybe we can rethink our connection to the divine. And when we see ourselves as sovereign, we recognize our responsibility to this earth, our responsibility to each other, So there's a big thing in that. It feels like when you're more authentic and you're more sovereign in your choices and in the direction that you want to go into, then we've got this judgment card, and this one's up, and that's what I was talking about, the threshold. Finding yourself at this threshold. I love the word threshold. I don't know why. I like the energy of crossing over into a brand new beginning. I like the energy of that. Leveling up. This is a level up card, and it is upright. So now it kind of gives a new spin on these, where there's been this confusion. But I think it's been a necessary like energy working itself out kind of a thing. Like the old timeline, there's been a momentum. Old timelines, there's been like a momentum or whatever, and sometimes you have to allow the inertia to, play itself out. You just got to let it's like, suffering the consequences of your choices, but you can still be learning while the consequences are playing out and saying, well, now I know a lot more clearly what I don't want to do. So let me get clarity about what I do want to do. So there's something about whatever struggles or hardships or whatever that maybe you have been going through. I think they have been necessary for your growth. They have been necessary for, for you to decide that you must move. You must move on. You must lift yourself up. You must change. You must accept responsibility for your life in a brand new way, because there's really no authority that's going to save you. But you can work with the energy and create better for yourself. So I don't know if a lot of people are finding themselves in collapsing timelines. I've been talking with my bestie a lot this morning. If we can all hold strength for each other, hold strength for ourselves, receive strength from each other, and know that there's it's funny, even an old CD that I recorded has come back, and there's a line in it that goes, "There's a new world coming. Can you hear your own heart sing? Just follow the wind to your everything. Everything is going to be okay." So anyway, we've got the Chariot card. And I don't know that I want to end the reading here. I just want to keep talking to y'all. But this Chariot card, of course, this is from a different deck, the Everyday Witch Tarot. I love my decks so much. I've given a lot of my decks away too. It's so interesting, all of these different timeline shifts. And I just, want to like give personal shares just to see if there's anything correlative to yourself. Did you feel impulse to give personal belongings away? Like I gave away my Moldavite. What? But it happened. So I don't know. So Chariot, it's like we're releasing the baggage. And with the Chariot card, it's so much about, and I love that she's like confused this way or that way. And normally it shows a person in a chariot, and I always like to talk about how a big message for me in the Chariot card is no reins. There's nothing really to rein you down unless you choose to have reins, but that comes back into that message of sovereignty. Because sometimes people will, different artists will depict the chariot as having reins to whatever's pulling the chariot forward, be it horses or dragons or gargoyles or sphinxes or whatever. But I think it's more accurate when there are no reins, because those, whoever is pulling the chariot forward, those represent the nouns in our lives: people, places, things, situations, circumstances, ideas and concepts, even belief systems. And no reins means, this has been pulling me along my current path, but now life is showing me a new direction that I can go into. Or it can be the nouns are trying to pull me down this path, and I'm not sure that that's right for me either. So it's like when we get to these choice points, destiny points, it's important to get that clarity, that high priestess, to really align to what feels like purpose for you. And I think there is a measure of believability connected to this energy of like, if you don't believe that life can be what maybe you're dreaming of, then maybe, I don't know. I always want to encourage people to go after what it is, but then I think of like my own personal life, and it's like, well, I've got kids to support, so there's got to be a happy medium. So I get it. Totally get it. And so again, coming back to that Pentacles energy, that Earth energy, it's like, if you can be all in and it feels right, then do that. If something won't leave you alone, but you're afraid to just jump all in, then just start planting the seeds, start watering the seeds, put what you can towards it when you can, and do the best you can, and be gentle with yourself. Getting a strong Louise Hay message where, she didn't start public speaking. She learned science of mind teachings, which I love science of mind teachings. She was in her 40s, and her whole life didn't even like really start the Louise Hay that we came to know and love. She was in her 40s before she stepped into that timeline. And I remember reading in her book, You Can Heal Your Life, that when she started public speaking, she would never, ever, ever criticize herself. She would always say, you did a great job, and you learned so much from this, and you learned so much that next time you do it, it'll be even better. The self-talk, like, we really do create our lives. And sometimes we get too big picture, like, I didn't create this. But if we can bring it in and see what we're focusing on. And so when you're sad, you can't help it. But it is that sort of thing. It's about only you can shift your perspective. And I know it's not easy. I've dealt with depression my whole life too. So instead of keeping those triggers in the shadows and dancing around it, like, and it reminds me of a saying my Aunt Nina always says, if it's to be, it's up to me. If it's to be, it's up to me. Now I got to say it 3 times. If it's to be, it's up to me. And so, sometimes depression will take you down. It takes me down. And, but then at the same time, it's like, wow, I have to pull out of this. I have to. I've got people relying on me. I have to pull out of this and find a way forward. And that's something like this. There's so much, like, even on this Chariot card, this is the most indecisive Chariot card I think I've ever seen. I love this deck so much, but she looks so indecisive. And then this High Priestess was reversed. But then there's this Judgment card. So, and then we've got this 3 of coins with the 4 of swords, and I want them all up right now, except I want this High Priestess up right now. And what I'm hearing is get honest. Get honest with yourself. And I'm also hearing, like, find your passion. What are you passionate about? And I just want to say, breathe that in. Like, really connect to passion. Really connect to inspiration. And I was looking at other cards, other decks, and the Knight of Wands came out quite a bit. What other kept coming out? The Fool kept coming out. I could have brought those all out. Excuse me. So don't be afraid to start something brand new. So I'm going to grab from these cards. There's the High Priestess. I don't do reversals with this deck. I haven't even used this deck in so long because it's incomplete. It's missing, like, the Empress and a couple other cards. But for some reason, it wanted to come out and speak. But passion, coming back to that, what are you passionate about? And it doesn't have to be about money. And I think that's something that collectively we're needing to break out of, is like so much is about money and worth and value and all of that. And it's easy to get pulled under, a tidal wave pulling you under. And I think that's why so many are struggling now. And as a collective, we have to change our consciousness. And what they're saying is find that fire, find what you're passionate about. And in some ways, they're saying it's better if it's not connected to money at all. So looking down, so I like that we got the 3 of Pentacles again. Connecting to your purpose, connecting to your passion. Somehow moving that energy is going to help bring things into alignment. And there's something about the number of 3, inviting people in to work with you. And using all these people I love as an example, my bestie Desi has become really passionate about making potions, oils. And it's so funny, when I was out in Colorado the last time, the oil that was running rampant was the truth serum oil. And boy, were truths revealed. And we all got set on new timelines because of these undeniable truths. And why am I saying that? Like, maybe start a coven. I don't know. Do you guys want to be part of my coven? No, there's something about this that I just want to focus on. Something about really allowing people to come into your world, but not just anybody, but there's something about magnetizing somebody who really wants to work with you. But there's something about purifying motives. Some people want to work with you because they're like clout chasers, which I don't use that word, but I've been watching this one particular tarot lady. I fucking love her. She's got like 3 different channels. Her name is Shonda, but I'll give her a shout out. Seek to see. I think she's got 2 channels committed to Capricorn. So, and she's like, this person's a clout chaser. Anyway, but it's like, no, somebody with a pure motive, somebody who truly is also wanting to connect to their purpose. I think we can all inspire each other now by connecting with those who want to connect with their own purpose and want to connect with others who are connecting with their purpose. And there's something about this triangle formation that it gives like a solid foundation. And I'm almost seeing like these rolling like a wheel, so that a person, well, and it's funny talking about Desi and whatever. We've talked about how we take turns being the high priestess. All of us do, because sometimes, we need to direct and sometimes we need to receive. And it's so valuable to do both, to direct the energy for others, but so valuable to trust another magical person. And it doesn't have to be about magic. This can be about starting a freaking woodworking, business or something like that. My friend Rose just popped in my head. She does like burning images into wood, pyrography. Fuck, that was so easy to say. Anyway, I don't know, but there's something like that. And then we've also got this Knight of Pentacles underneath that. And then underneath that is the Nine of Cups, and then underneath that is the Ten of Cups, fuck-a-doodle, and then there is the King of Cups. So there's so much about fulfillment, and underneath that is the Queen of Wands. I'm not going to keep going into that, because then we've also got this King of Swords. With these two together, I feel like, so often we criticize the Knight of Pentacles for moving too slowly, but with this, it kind of feels like take your time. Take your time. It's a journey. You don't have to get anywhere. Yeah, bills need to get paid, whatever. But don't do a slouch job or whatever. Take your time. Invest in yourself. Take the time and invest. You can't force roses to grow in the winter. They got to come up in the spring, right? But you can go out, and if you already know you've planted those seeds, you can go out and visit the spot and talk to the roses about what you can't wait to sit and smell their aroma and how much you love the beauty of roses, and you're so grateful that you received these seeds and that you have a beautiful fertile ground that you could plant them in. And of course, roses is just a metaphor for whatever it is, but sing to your seeds, nurture it in all these different ways, and find the fulfillment now. Feel that fulfillment now, and be generous with the love of knowing who you are and living truly as you are, no matter what you do, So I've got too many cards now. Temperance, this is about making sure your cup is full, but also I feel like there's an integration process right now, and it feels like don't rush the process. Right now, things are really saying like slow down and be more intentional. Be more intentional, be more sincere about the things that you are wanting to work on. King of Swords, declaring your truth, communicating your truth. There's something about really getting honest right now. And he's like holding his sword to this Two of Pentacles. And so declaring that truth in both ways. Yes, I have these responsibilities. And isn't it interesting going back to that conversation about responsibility? And there's just so much. How when we give our sovereignty over to authority, how the authority will place all of these responsibilities on us, but it's to please the master. It's to please the authority. And it's not really about creating what is most exciting for you and creating maybe what is greatest for the greater good of all. And I think that's where we're shifting in our consciousness. All right, so the last cards I want to finish with, we've got the Strength card, we've got the Hanged Man, dang, all major arcanas, we've got the Death card, and we've got the Chariot card again. And where did that other Chariot card go? Because it's interesting that there's this trepidation on her face in this card, like, it's like she wants to go this way, but she looks really nervous about going this way because, and it's almost like a FOMO, but like, what if I should have gone that way? So it's like being caught in indecision, analysis paralysis kind of thing. But then we come to this Chariot, and now there's a very decisive look. And it's funny because I talk about no reins, but on this he has reined it in. So maybe that's an expansion on the conversation of the Chariot, is like, but when you do get greater clarity about the direction you want to go into, and maybe there is something to be reined in as far as what your true beliefs are, what your true nouns are, and a clarity about this person or these people are definitely not aligned to my destiny. This job, this situation, this belief system, this paradigm, this blah, 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 you know. Becoming a very decisive person. And I just feel like encouraging everybody to read You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay, because that's another thing, is an affirmation to look in the mirror and tell yourself, I am a decisive person. I am a decisive person. I am a decisive person. It's easy to get into people pleasing and codependency and, you know, be afraid that what you decide is going to displease somebody else. But if you decide, I'm a decisive person, and fucking mean it, you know. All right. Love and peace. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like a reading from me, I do have Thanksgiving specials going on right now. I'll attach my little flyer that I made. Cheap readings. And they're not cheap, but I'm going to, one characteristic of me that maybe I need to work on or maybe not, is that if you pay for half an hour, you're going to get probably at least 45 minutes. Sales and business is not my strong suit, but, you know, but so with these, I am going to stay more true to the time just because I kind of have to, but I'm giving some really good deals this month on palm and tarot readings. These are for online readings only. And if you would like personal readings, feel free to, or in-person readings, feel free to hit me up. I'm in a little bit of a shift right now because I mostly want to work from a home office, but I'm still available for in-person readings too. And I'll be at Instant Karma Fridays or Saturdays, or maybe a little both. So, all right. Anyway, that's all I have. Peace and love. Until next time.